Cô sang hạ y đồ cho nó cha trắng cho nãy cha chỉ cha phong rất là để nóแต่nó ấy cú dành cháy trò nửa ít tuần cháy sinh dữ cái chuyện là của y sang nó nửa lo hà lo áp lo khó nửa bu ta nó nửa bu giờ rong để trong có ta rồi bố cho những nhỏ sinh dữ rồi cái chuyện tao nó nửa lo hà cả lo khó nửa bu nữa có biết cái nòng sai bố lên bu để rong bỏ lên chả ở trong đó cái lo hạt đó nè.
Okay, hi. Thank you all for allowing me this time to speak. Tati Kuchipa hai lumong kuyo hai no hu mikat For those who don't know who I am, Guya for to mitai Guya Gati to. I wrote a little something for my grandma, and I'm really bad at giving speeches, so I'm just gonna read off of my paper. So here I go. Both my grandma and grandpa lived with my parents before me and my siblings were born. She babysat us growing up, and we were very close to her. I used to ask so many questions about her life back in Laos and Thailand, and I distinctly remember that she never told me enough. She was always holding some things back, and I always felt like I wanted to know more. Oftentimes, I wondered how she could be so strong through it all. Some stories that she told about her past was really insane, like the time she'd just finished giving birth, and then right after, she was on the run from the Vietnamese. I used to wonder how she could be that strong. As a person, my grandmother was very easygoing and kind and so patient. My earliest memories are of her taking care of me and my cousin Shane when my brother Matthew and my sister Molly were just babies. When my parents were at work, it was always my grandma and my grandpa that were there. She disciplined us, but she was always very gentle. She never hit anyone too hard. It was just a swat here or a swat there. Growing up, I always looked up to her, and I very much respected her. She was one of the people in my life who I respected the most. I will never forget how good she was to all of us. She was such a gentle soul and an all-around, genuinely good person. She was very honest, very patient. My mom, she wanted me to say a few words for her, so she said that my mom, her parents died when she was a baby. She never knew the love of parents until she married my dad. She said that when she first came to marry him, she was in her room getting ready for school, and my grandma knocked on the door and said to her, "Daughter-in-law, I made some noodles for you to eat before you go to school." My mom couldn't believe that those words came from her mother-in-law, of all people. She said that growing up, everybody always told her that mother-in-laws were very mean, and she never expected any kindness from my grandma because my mom, she didn't have any parents growing up, and she always did things for herself. No one had ever made her breakfast before, and the first time it did happen, it was shocking because it was from her mother-in-law, of all people. My mom said that she was so overwhelmed by my grandma's kindness that she stood there and cried. My mom said her and my dad's life was so much easier because my grandma and my grandpa were there for them. She said that when she was attending MATC, she would leave the house very early, sometimes at 5:30 a.m., but she never had to worry about waking us or taking us anywhere because my grandparents were always there. I remember countless early mornings tracking my grandma through the tiny garden of plants that she had in our backyard, or all the times she would call us to go eat rice with chicken or ramen noodles after we were done playing as little kids. Um, oftentimes, oftentimes I'd see her sewing clothes, and I'd go over and try to sew too, but I was never really good at it. Um, my grandparents helped out so much around the house. They did things like rake the leaves every year, shovel snow, and my grandma would sew our torn clothes back together while my grandpa fixed everything. Um, my dad loved grandma and grandpa very much. He's sick now, so he doesn't remember much. He probably won't remember that my grandma passed away a couple days from now. He won't remember, but he loved he loved them very much. And after my dad got sick and became extremely confused and forgetful, there were still many times he'd go looking around the house for my grandparents to go eat with him, despite the fact that by then my grandpa had passed away and my grandma hadn't lived with us for many years. In my grandmother's last few years, I really wish I could have helped her out more. All I could do was listen to her and try to make her feel better when she was feeling depressed. Something I hugely regret is that I never told her how much I care about her and how much I miss her when she was gone. I'm really bad at telling people these things, but I'd like to believe that deep down in my grandma's heart, she already knew. I would really love to believe that she knew how much I care about her and how much I will miss her when she's gone. I will never forget my grandmother, and as long as I live, a part of her will always be with me. Thank you all so much for listening.